contortions and shit. And I think that combined with like the electric potential that you can generate, it just makes it so you got like this ratchet strap kind of like iron wire energy as opposed to like I got a big muscle that moves shit. You know what I mean?
Carmen, did you ever hear the story about do you know Durian Rider, right?
Yeah, that's homie. I love that dude.
So he was kind of coaching Nick and Nate Diaz through the better part of their career. Definitely during Nate versus Connor when he choked Connor out.
Connor. Yeah, he was one of the only guys who was able to beat Connor in his prime, and he was a vegan.
Yeah, and Connor was a carnivore. He was doing like the all meat keto thing.
And what happened to Connor in a fucking fight? Like 2 fights after that, he kicked somebody,
out.
right? And well, besides him gassing out, he was always notorious for gassing out, the notorious gassing out. But what I really think fucked him was like, dude, after a while, like his bones couldn't take the pressure that he was putting on his body. No. And when he got injured recently, he kicked some dude like with his shin bone, and then he went back to step on it, and it just snapped. Like his shin was done. And whereas like Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz are journeymen, like still like, you know what I mean? Nate Diaz has been fighting in the UFC for like, I think like 20 to 30 years now. And like has remained relevant. And like I said, beat the champ, like in his ladder of his career, like on his last couple of his years out. And that just
Nate,
goes to the longevity.
Nate almost knocked out the current world champion not even that long ago. Like, dude is a beast. Like those dudes are such beasts. Like, it's hilarious. But so Durian Rider was like, all right, you guys, so you need to get on your bikes and you need to be doing intervals the same length as your when you're in the ring, you know, whatever, 3 minutes, right?
The round length, yeah.
Yeah, you need to be going out and doing these interval training and like being straight vegan and high sugar, all that shit. And they went in there and that's the funniest thing is Rogan just praises those dudes for their gas tanks all day. And that's literally because of Durian Rider's coaching.
Come on, Rogan.
Like, Durian Rider choked out Conor McGregor. Like, holy shit, you know, like, and like, no one even knows that. Like, you know, that's some of the most epic UFC shit of all time. Nick and Nate Diaz, when they were vegan, they were the most fun. That's when they got the most popularity. And they were just doing the Durian Rider protocols. And they're pretty simple.
What do you think about Rogan? Because I remember like 10, 15 years ago, I know I don't like him either, but I mean, what do you think happened? Because like, if you followed Rogan for long enough, he was like real anti-NASA. Like he would go on and debate. Like
I was blown away once I heard he wasn't anymore.
And it was like,
how is that possible? Yeah,
like he just did a 180, and I'm not convinced with like, you know, he doesn't really sell you on why he did the 180. There's not like this honest like video where he's like, well, I saw the light. You know what I mean? It kind of just looks like, oh, I just changed my mind because I'm not really supposed to. Neil deGrasse Tyson is going to come on, and I'm not bringing that Eric Dubé guy on because I can't afford to have that with them.
Yeah, I'll lose too many people, and then he wouldn't know what to say. You know, like Dubé's the beast. I wouldn't want to debate Dubé about anything.
Yeah,
I think
Rogan, as well as like all these, like as we watch these, like you know, like truther and like activists and stuff that get bigger, we could always see the day they start getting paid because they change their story. You know, they completely change their story, and it's like, what's happening? You know, like Tim Pool and Luke Radowski, you know, like all those dudes they're mainstream news now. Those were dudes like I used to hang with and work.
I think they're all controlled op, dude. You know, I am so convinced that there is a whole arm of the CIA that just co-ops these people and finances them. Like I was balls deep in all that too, dude. And
I know.
When you meet these people in person, there's just something weird and off and like secretive. They don't talk a lot. Like they're shifty, you know what I mean? And then like conversely, when they start acting like that, you know, they start getting promoted. They start showing up on other things. I just think that there's a huge investment in derailing truthers once they get on a road. You know what I mean? And I think that's what the whole like carnivore thing's about too, because they're knowing people are starting to study about health, so they got to make like, oh, eggs and dairy is gonna heal you type shit.
Well, I'd like to bring up the fact that 98% of medical studies like support the people paying for the studies. 98%. So
John
I think.
Bob, you can't say shit like that. It's not true.
What do you mean?
98% of all studies are paid. Like,
No, not.
do you read
They
studies,
support
John
the
Bob?
people
Because I
that pay.
do. You know, like
Like
there are
industry
redundancies.
funded studies. Industry funded studies. Okay, so you or I we're a doctor, right? We get hired by an industry to do a study. Are we going to try and go out of our way to support that industry that's hiring us so they can hire
No,
us more, keep putting money in our
John
pocket?
Bob, once you get enough studies, they get into this category called meta study, right? And there are clear patterns that emerge, and when studies pop up that the patterns are amiss, they'll actually get rid of that study. And every study has a list of sponsors, and there are absolutely like watchdog groups that do this stuff, like studies. Like once you get into meta studies, like there are so many redundancies. Once they have like 5,000 studies about one subject, there's like clear stuff. And so like when any anomalies show up, they just get rid of it. They don't. But to be able to just say, and if you're talking in terms of science, in order to discredit a study, you have to discredit the information in the study that's wrong. You can't just say because like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation threw some money into the study with 5,000 other people that the whole study is false or wrong or anything like that. You can't do that kind of stuff. And that's like the stuff that the metards do. They're the ones falsifying and using fake numbers and stuff. And we as vegans can't do that shit. Like we got to stick to our
brother. Huh? I'm talking about the metards.
I know.
Like hiring people to get 98%. I was just saying the truthers. If we see 98% of doctors being willing to sell out on their study, I think we could probably predict pretty much the same numbers with the truther community. So 49 out of 50 or 98 out of 100, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
sure.
But you know who is a boss with fucking debunking studies? Fucking Dr. Gregor, man. You guys ever read How Not to Die? The guy's a fucking boss. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
But yeah, Carmen, Luke, when I was working with Luke, I think is when he got paid, when he started getting paid. And that was the same time like Alex Jones got weird and like went Trump or something like that. It was when it was all the mainstream truthers that I was like working amongst all started getting paid by someone at the same time. And everyone did an about face away from libertarian stuff and went into like, oh, we need to really come down on Hillary Clinton, and we need to like low key kind of support Bernie and Trump at the same time, but not be too obvious. Like it was like everyone did it at the same time. And then Luke had this universal airplane ticket. He could just fly anywhere in the world for free at any time, and I'm like, bro, how are you doing that? And he paid, there was always an unknown source of money coming in that was paying for things like a very extravagant thing. Like he almost became like a travel guy, and then then he started reading the news, and I'm like, Luke, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, bro? You're reading mainstream news on your show? And he's all, that's where the crowds are. And I'm like, all right, dude, oh, that's not why I'm here. So, see you later. And then him and Tim Pool are taking over the world now, and it's crazy. But
yeah, you're not the only person who said something along those lines about him to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
But anyway.
So have you guys noticed the plane ticket thing with other people? Because I've noticed that too, like where you're following people and all of a sudden they can travel all they want just out of nowhere. It's like
it's a CIA op, man. They got a lot of money. They got a lot of money to entice people.
They got that black budget, dog. That untraceable black budget. You know what I mean? If they can hire somebody to do their bidding in any way, they'll do it.
Crisis actors exist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really, I believe you. I just wanted to point out that I've noticed it too, and ask everybody else if they've seen that too. You guys have seen that too?
For sure.
I don't watch anybody really, so I don't pay attention to any of it. I mean, I've met the Clintons. They were the most despicable people I've ever met in my life. I've met the Bushes. I didn't even feel like they were human.
Yeah, they aren't. Well, they've lived completely different lives than us, and they're just.
How do you have a company? How do you have a company that sells real estate in the highest, the most cocaine trafficking city in the country? And you have
Little Rock?
No, what is it? Nino, Arkansas. And you have this like 52 employees working for you, and you get hired as president, and all 52 die that worked for you.
Yeah,
how do you have that happen? And then how do you, it's just like, you know, and the reason that they were impeaching him was because he was doing deals with China. It had nothing to do with sex and the white. I mean, the whole thing is just a mess.
Is that documentary still around, the Clinton murders or whatever?
I have no idea.
There was like a serious documentary that came out, and they linked like 200 people that were really close around the Clintons that died mysteriously. It's out. Yeah. I guarantee it's out there somewhere, but it might have been wiped when they wiped YouTube a few years back. And that's around that time that everybody started getting paid, is when they eventually kicked Alex Jones off, and then they did the big wipe of all the YouTube.
Everybody that they couldn't buy.
Yeah, it was like 7,500 accounts in one day that got wiped.
Yeah. It was gnarly. I don't know how I didn't get wiped, because I talked about way gnarlier shit than all of those guys combined. But yeah, and then Luke, Free Thought Project, they came over to my page because I had a page with 60,000 on Facebook, which isn't much, but then they had nothing. So like I had all these big dudes back in the day using my Facebook page, blowing it up. Like I got videos that have like 14 million and shit, because those guys knew what they're doing. But it's just like they completely got reset. And like the kid from Free Thought Project, he just bought a house, like like he screwed. Like a lot of my friends were getting, that was their career, and they just completely took them off. And like Free Thought Project is not even that sketchy of an out. Like they were pretty mainstream, like they were definitely truther, but they, weren't saying anything that risque.
Conservative truthers, they call
it. Yeah.
Hey, yo, listen, I gotta hop off of here, fellas.
Yeah,
so
dude. Thanks for finally coming by, bro. Every Friday we're here.
My son says bye.
Later, brother. Bye, little dude. Later, brother.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah, Ryan. So what else? So rice diet. So I'm sure Braxton's been quiet, but so Ryan's doing the rice diet right now. Ryan used to be 405 pounds, you said?
It was over. I don't know what the final weight. The final weight that I had at the doctor was 405, but I know
and
I got
what's the least you've been?
225.
Wow. So you almost lost 200 pounds.
Yeah. My body just is not like staying there, though. Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. It just does not like staying there. So I got to figure that one out. When I do raw, I mean, I can't even keep weight on me, but I hate it. Like I shiver all day. Like I hate the ripening process. I can't stand it.
Yeah. It's hard unless you live in Costa Rica or Thailand or something, where they have just like everything everywhere.
Yeah.
But Braxton, did you hear that he doubled his testosterone by eating a pound of sugar a week?
A day.
Yeah.
A day.
That was surprising to hear.
Yeah.
Because one dude, somebody in the comments, I think it was Lubas, he was saying something about like it's more about saturated fat being like a precursor to like hormones. And I don't know about. I was also going to say earlier when we were talking about sugar, it's like, isn't there that whole thing about like glycogen or sugar being like the reason why people get like explosive bursts when they're exercising?
Yeah.
Well, and it's like they just did a study, and they're like, okay, all these keto people, all they're losing is muscle glycogen. They're not losing that much weight.
Exactly. I try to tell them that all the time.
Yeah. And then, like, why would you not want muscle glycogen? That's like one of the most important things to have in your body. So, like, that's just batshit. And there are all these studies saying that, you know, these low carb diets, all these people are like raising their chances of getting like all diseases by like 60% or something. Like, it's totally nuts. Like, it's pretty sketch.
It's the all-cause mortality diet.
Yeah. And last week, Ryan, we watched your video about Joey.
9?
Yeah. On the show last week. Yeah. It was pretty funny. Because Harley did Harley did one debate discussion with Joey Schwartz and like kind of smoked him like pretty easily. And Joey was like really upset at the end. And so Joey instantly did a rematch where he had set up like a chat with like his chat going to have people just like saying stuff to him so he could say stuff to Harley. And like, it was like a completely different like interview, the second one, but it's pretty long, but it's some of Harley's most classic stuff. Like his most, like, he was just like, bro, he's like, you're freaking 19, dude. He was because he was like, how often do you shit, bro? Or he's
I saw
how
that.
often do you shit, mate? And he's all, I don't know, every 5 days, basically. He's like, bro. He just started talking to him like he was like a child, and Harley got very like dad-like and was just like, dude, you're too young to be doing this stuff, dude. Like, honestly, like, it was so funny. So Harley did those were really, really not good for Joey. Then
I heard his channel actually went down quite a bit after those interviews.
Oh, he lost 10,000. Oh, well, hold on. So then he did Nutrivore, a debate with Nutrivore. Nutrivore destroyed and literally made Joey run away.
Really?